Hello and welcome to This Time Africa. As you know, This Time Africa showcases our men, African women and men, our culture, education, our emerging leaders, business partners, friends of Africa. This and much more in the dish right here on This Time Africa. But again, the question always is, what's on this time? Well, you know what? Life takes a different turn, and so today our clock faces Rwanda, where we're going to talk about an organization that aims to end the practice of torture and looks after the survivors of torture. I am talking about Torture Abolition and Survivors Support Coalition Task, and with me here in the studios, I have the Executive Director, LEONCE. Welcome to the show, LEONCE. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. Thank you, Matilda.
Very good, very good. So when I looked at the topic and read the website about what you're doing, first of all, let me say thank you for focusing on that. But the first question that popped in my mind was, torture is such a big and critical topic. What brought you into that topic?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me at this platform. So I started working with torture survivors 4 years ago when I came to the US. And back in my country, I was trained as a clinical psychologist. And as you know, in Rwanda, we had a genocide. So I was involved in helping genocide survivors, but also other people who have had issues, trauma background. And when I came to the US, I was obliged to be able to work with torture survivors because they pretty much have trauma experience like a genocide survivor. So that's when I started working with torture survivors. And
so you felt like you already had like the need to do so, I would say, because you were you in Rwanda when all the torture and everything happened?
Yes, I was in Rwanda.
So you were a witness. You
yes.
witnessed to that.
Yes.
Okay. I hope your family is okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Just before we go into what is going on now, I want you to tell me a little bit about Diana Ortiz, an encounter in Guatemala. I think in 1998, she was the founder. And just to touch on that a little bit, can you share light?
Yes. Thank you so much. Diana Ortiz is the founder of Task International. And in 1998, she was working in Guatemala as a Catholic nun, doing missionary work, helping children to learn English in Guatemala. And at that time, there was a civil war in Guatemala happening. And then she was captured and put in jail, tortured. And when she escaped prison in Guatemala, she came back in the U.S. because she is a U.S. citizen. And she felt compelled to start the organization to be able to help people who had the same experience as her. So that's how she started Task in 1998, and we got incorporated in 2001, and now we've been there since.
Great. And so you're talking about being there. What countries is Task represented in? What countries?
Thank you. We have, since the beginning of Task, we've had clients from more than 70 countries.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, today we have more than 100 countries practicing torture. So we have clients from all over the world. Of course, we have 70% of our clients coming from Africa. There's a lot happening in Africa, dictatorships and other atrocities that makes people feel compelled to torture the other citizens, which is very deplorable. Yeah. So we have many clients from Africa, but also from around the world.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And so you're talking about Africa as well, and all the. But what I want to say is, torture has such a political incline, and how do you handle the political ramifications? Like, I know the big dudes, you know, how do you get to it? How do you get to them?
Thank you so much. That's a really good question. Most of our clients, the survivors of torture, those are people who were activists back in their countries, people who were in opposition parties, people who were journalists, people who were whistleblowers, people who were speaking out against corruption.
Yeah.
So those people are more in trouble in
Yes.
countries that are ruled by dictators, and so consequently, these people get tortured, they're put in jail, sometimes killed. So it has a political inclination because the majority of those people get tortured by politicians.
Yes.
But we look at the human rights side.
Yes.
We don't support any political party or any president or any individuals wherever they are in their countries, because they are sovereign countries. But we denounce human rights abuses wherever it appears, and we make sure that we speak out, and if we have to name names, we do that, but not in the name of the politics, but in the name of the human rights.
In the name of human rights.
Yeah.
And so that means you must have a very strong advocacy base.
Yes, we have a strong advocacy base, and whoever is practicing torture, we will go after them in terms of advocacy, denouncing them, speaking out against them, even if necessary, to seek for justice for people who have been tortured.
Okay, and so in that light, I know you have to engage lawyers, doctors, psychologists, social workers. So take me through a journey of, let's say, I'm a journalist and I had a big mouth when I was in Sierra Leone, and everybody knew me. I was on the newspapers they wanted me. I had to change my name, and by the grace of God, I came to the US. But what would have happened in that case? How does TASC handle situations like that? How do you collect your information and act on them?
Thank you. So, as I mentioned, we are based here in Washington, D.C., but we serve people who are in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, the DMV area. So when people get here, if they have the chance to escape whatever is happening to them, so when they get in the DMV area, that's when we start working with them.
I see, okay.
And we provide them with different services. We have social services, we have psychological services because those people went through a lot. We have legal services. We have a team of lawyers that helps those people to collect evidence and seek asylum, because those people are seeking for safety here in the U.S. So we have a team of lawyers helping them to do that. 40% of our clients, they have a master's degree or PhD degree because they were speaking out back in their countries. They're educated. Yes. So we have a team helping them to get jobs, but we also do advocacy. So the advocacy has the international component, because when those people get here, they tell us their stories of what happened to them, and sometimes we follow up with them and get to know who tortured them, in what circumstances, and what we can do about it. So that's how we are working now with the U.S. Congress, the House and the Senate. We work on bills to either compel countries to stop practicing torture. We're working with the State Department to sometimes sanction countries that have been practicing torture for a long time, or individuals or organizations. So that's our international component of our advocacy and of our work. So we get information from our clients as they are torture survivors, but we also do research about what's happening in those countries.
All right, very good. Because I was going to ask how you reach the parliaments, I should say, back home they say parliament, to pass those bills. But you've just said that, and you do have representatives, of course, in those countries that represent you.
Yes.
All right, that's very good. So again, just to back up to that question, you do have a data. I'm supposing that you do have a data that you collect. So what do you do with reports, data collection, and all of that, so that people are able to go, for instance, and you would tell the viewers your website, they can go to the website and see, is this a public report, or how does it work?
Thank you so much. So we have people on our team who are like country experts.
Okay.
So we work with those survivors they come from different countries, as I mentioned. So we work with them to collect information, and we can corroborate that information from the ground, from our partners who are on the ground, and then we put together country reports. Okay. So we have country reports on our website for different countries. We have country reports from Cameroon, for Uganda, for Liberia, I think for Cameroon. So those countries, we have information about human rights abuses happening there, and we get that information from the survivors themselves, and from the research that we do with our partners on the field.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Great, you're very well organized. And you've been around for how long again, the organization?
The organization has been around for 21 years now, and we wish there were no more torture, but I think that has been there for a long time, and it's going to continue to be there. But we are going to do our best to continue to fight torture, to seek for justice for people who have been tortured, and to continue the rehabilitation of those individuals as well.
That's very good. So let's talk about reintegration. I know that, so the survivors come and then they see their doctors and all. What do you do to reintegrate them into communities?
Thank you. That's a very good question. Pretty much our team is working together. As I say, we have different services, but they all work together to address all the sides of the humanity of the person who needs service.
Yes.
So getting them asylum, that's the first step, asylum, very important, so that they could become active members of the community here where they are, because they were professionals back home, so they want to be part of this community and build this country. And so we have that. We also have a team helping them get jobs.
Okay.
Getting a job and paying tax.
Because I think that would save them from post-trauma issues as well.
Yes.
Because just getting the doctors is one, but reintegrating them as far as getting jobs and settling themselves into society again. Yes,
you're right. So most of these people, even if they experience torture back home, but it gets accentuated if they get here and don't find a job, don't find asylum. But once they got like asylum, they get a legal status, they get a job, they're able to put food on their table, they're able to support their families back home, they feel much better. And they can heal much quicker. And more consistently. And so we have all these programs. We have psychological support programs, but we have community activities at Task, where we bring not only the survivors together, but also people from the community to be able to share stories and to support them and to support each other between them, and in a way that they're going to be integrated fully in the community where they are.
I think that's very important to get those community activities, especially hearing the stories of somebody who has been a survivor of torture or maybe even a civil war or something. I think that's very good. And so who are your partners? Who do you partner with? Or may I say sponsors?
Thank you. That's a good question. We get support from the U.S. government, the Office of Refugees and Resettlement.
I am so glad, because it's very important. It's a very important job.
Yeah, it's really helpful. So we have the support from the U.S. government, the Office of Refugees and Resettlement. They help us with our social services and our psychological services. But we also have support from a local government. We have big support from the D.C. Mayor's office. That support our legal team. We recently got support from Montgomery County Council. That's going to help with career development and the legal work. And we have individual donors. We have many individuals who donate $20 a month, who donate $1,000 a month. So all these people come together and to support our services.
Wow. All of these people come together to support the services. Are you willing to join the bandwagon as we try to aim and end the practice of torture? This is what we're talking about. With me right here in the studio is the Executive Director of Task, Mr. LEONCE We will be right back. You stay right on, because we want to tell you about our projects. This is This Time Africa.
Do you want to promote your business? Do you want to talk about your nonprofit organization? Do you want to talk about your culture? Introducing the online web TV, Africa Today. We are live every Sunday at 3 p.m. Our shows are 3 p.m. Sunday Guests with Elaine Pierre. 4 p.m. This Time Africa with Sian Natilda Banga. 5 p.m. Transformation Point with Dr. Natalie Kamsudomo. 5:30 Cyber Connect with Jean Bosco Fogham. You can watch us live at the same time on 4 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and using the Africa Today app. Download our app today for Android or Apple. Promote your business today. For more information, go to www.africtoday.com. Africa Today, the best of digital TV. Do you want to promote your business? Do you want to talk about your nonprofit organization? Do you want to talk about your culture? Introducing the online web TV, Africa Today. We are live every Sunday at 3 p.m. Our shows are 3 p.m. Sunday Guests with Elaine Pierre. 4 p.m. This Time Africa with Sian Natilda Banga. 5 p.m. Transformation Point with Dr. Natalie Kamsudomo. 5:30 Cyber Connect with Jean Bosco Fogham. You can watch us live at the same time on 4 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and using the Africa Today app. Download our app today for Android or Apple. Promote your business today. For more information, go to www.africtoday.com. Africa Today, the best of digital TV.
Hello and welcome back to This Time Africa. We are talking about torture, abolition and survivor support coalition task. And I'm here with LEONCE again as we continue this conversation. You know, I read on your website that you said the passion to protect your survivors, the passion to protect. How so?
Thank you so much. So the survivors torture, as I mentioned, those are people who have been targeted individually because of their human rights work, because of the activism, their work as journalists or politicians. So when they get here, they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable to the change of location, but also they lost their everything. So they're in a situation where they need someone to be there for them, to speak on their behalf. But they're strong people. They're strong people. They just need a platform to stand and to get rehabilitated and go back in the community. So that's how we support them, and we work with them to be able to help them to get back on their feet. And as soon as they get the services they need, as soon as they get back in the community, they go back to their normal lives. And
that gives you, that makes you feel what? How do you feel when you see that one survivor after another gets back on their feet? How does that make you feel?
It feels good. It feels good. We've got many stories where you see someone coming in and they're really beaten up. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't have a space to stay. But seeing them after a few months or a few years back on their feet, back on in their careers, you know, reunified with their families,
Yes,
you know, so you feel good. You feel like these people are strong. They survived. They will never go down. They want to become who they were. So most of the people, when they get the services they need, they get back on their feet.
That's very good. So for those who are listening, how would somebody reach you if they're probably listening to this show right now and there's something that you haven't heard about? How would they reach you?
Thank you so much. So actually now we are in the outreach month. We are reaching out to more people. If you have experienced torture or government persecution, and you're afraid of going back home, or you feel like you're threatened if you go back home, you can reach out to us. We can provide you services that I mentioned, legal service, psychological service, but also help you to get back in their job. And you can call our phone number, 202-899-2701. And someone is going to talk to you and give you an appointment to come and get an intake and get screened and start receiving services.
And your website?
Our website is www.tassc.org.
All right, all right. So let's talk about the human rights aspect of it. Because I think that it's, you know, we have been talking about human rights for so long.
Yes.
What are you doing as far as not only the torture, but the human rights, protection of human lives, and so that those governments can honor the human rights policies and all of that? What are you doing?
Thank you so much. We've been working with a few countries to, for example, ratify the UN Convention Against Torture.
Exactly.
That is something that many countries haven't signed so far. So we've been reaching out to a few countries to encourage them to do that and to follow up on that and actually put that in practice. We've been calling out to countries, governments, military sections who are practicing torture to stop doing torture and to persecute people who have been involved. And if that doesn't work, there are mechanisms here in the US that helps us to actually hold these people accountable. There is a platform with the US State Department and the Treasury Department where an individual or an organization, wherever they are in the world, they can be sanctioned by the US.
Yes.
Those are travel sanctions and financial sanctions. So it's called the Global Magnitsky Act. So TASC is part of the coalition that actually we can designate an individual or an organization or a military branch wherever in the world that is practicing torture, and those can be sanctioned. Wow. So those are different platforms that are in place that we can use to make sure that people are respected, that torture is no longer practiced in different corners of the world.
Thank you so much. Speaking from a female point of view, I know the bell sounds louder when a woman faces torture. Can you give me any example, a success story about a female that has gone through this and has gone through your organization?
Thank you so much. So when we talk especially about women, you know, like in Africa, in war situations or conflict situations, women are really vulnerable.
Yeah.
We, like for example in DRC now, rape has been like a weapon of war.
Yeah.
Many other countries. So we have many women who have suffered rape. Women who have suffered cultural practices like female genital mutilations and other practices. And when they get here, they're more vulnerable. They're also vulnerable to human trafficking as well. So we make sure that we provide extra protection and extra services to women because they're more vulnerable and they're more likely to get more hurt if they don't receive that follow-up. We've had a lot of success stories where we see people coming here not in a good shape, but after receiving those services, they go back on their feet, they're positive, and they want to actually tell their story, where they were and where they are now.
And so that's what I was saying, that information is made public.
Yes,
So
if you go to our website, there are some success stories there. We have a group of people that we call the truth speakers. Those are individuals who want to speak out about what's happening in their countries, but also where they come from and where they are now.
Okay.
Now they are speaking for other people who cannot speak themselves.
Okay, great. So what's there for the future for TASC before we close?
Thank you so much. Now we are starting a training program to help actually other organizations, other service providers to provide a trauma-informed platform and services, also to be culturally aware, because the DMV area is a place where there's diversity in languages, countries where people come from. So we're trying to provide those trainings to centers and organizations and service providers. That's something big we're trying to do now, so that we could all come together to support those individuals.
Wow, that's very good. So apart from the training, anything else that we need to look forward to?
Pretty much the outreach, what we are doing, we want everyone who has experienced torture, everyone who needs an immigration lawyer because of their torture, anyone who needs those services to reach out to us. Again, as I said, to 202-899-2701 to reach out to us and come get services that they need.
And can you probably just let us have your address in DC, please?
Our address is 401 Harewood Road, Northeast, Suite B, Washington, DC.
Well, they can go on the website and check that out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the website again is
TASSC.org.
TASSC.org, meaning that the Torture Abolition and Survivors Support Coalition. That's TASSC. So, hey, do you have information about survivors? Do you have victims of torture? Do you have an information? This is where you reach LEONCE Biamana, who is the executive director that I've been speaking with. This is This Time Africa. You know where to watch us. Sundays at 4 p.m. That's where we meet, africtoday.com. You can check us out either on Facebook. And if you have a flat screen, you can get the Fire Stick and watch us on Amazon. And also go to Twitter and Facebook and WhatsApp. You can find us right there. This is This Time Africa. Thank you again for listening. This is your host, Sia Matilda Banga. I'll see you next time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.